I worked with a first responder once who was called to an accident scene where 5 teenagers were in a car and they had been involved in a head-on collision, and 4 out of 5 of the teenagers were severely injured. And one of the teenagers who was most severely injured and had severe internal bleeding was begging this first responder to call his mother on the cell phone. And the first responder was really into survival mode for this teenager. He knew there was a low likelihood the teenager was going to survive, but he wanted to do everything that he could. And so for that reason, as well, I think for the reason that he would have found it very, very, very difficult to call the mother, he didn't call the mother, and he just focused on helping this teenager survive. And then the teenager died, and he was left with incredible feelings of guilt and shame about not having called the mother. And it literally tore him apart inside. And he had great difficulty coming to terms with what he had done. And so we talked about that there were really 2 sides to him, and that the side that has to rescue people, that just focuses on that fight and flight mode of helping people, of getting the job done, that's the part of him that is most active when he works as a paramedic. But that he also has this other part of himself that has empathy that's often suppressed because, that part can't be present at all times when you're doing this difficult work. But that part was really suffering as a result of his actions. And how to work collaboratively with the 2 parts of himself to resolve this issue, but also to move ahead when he returned to work, to acknowledge those 2 parts and really give a voice to both parts. For the longest time, I think he'd really suppressed that more empathic side of himself because, he wanted to be strong and a tough guy. He was an advanced care paramedic and, he's always in charge. And so he'd pushed aside that empathic part. And we talked about how important that is, that how we're all human. And as a human being, we have different parts, and that empathic part, makes him a good human being, makes him a good father, and can also help in his paramedic practice. And that, sure, you need to suppress it to a certain point because, you can't be called to an accident scene and just have empathy. You also need to act, but to bring it online more and to really acknowledge all parts. And he did very well. He was able to return to work, and I think it made him much more human.